Alrighty, I'm a big believer in visualizing abstract concepts, and I think the work of Pierre Bourdieu lends itself to visualizing whiteness, especially the aspects of de facto racism. For Bourdieu, there were three important social structuring mechanisms or devices, if I can use that word: habitus, fields, and institutions. Habitus, the green circle in this diagram, is the largest, most abstract device. Here is one definition he offered. It is a subjective but not individual system of internalized structures, schemes of perception, conception, and action common to all members of the same group or class. Elsewhere, he called it a structuring structure that structures other structures. So it's the highest kind of aspects of ideology that really kind of exert a powerful influence over other levels of society beneath it. The root of the word is also found in habit, habitat, habitable. In fact, habit, right, is a common word for pattern behaviors, right? So habitus communicates a sense of organized experience organized in such a way that it seems completely natural, that it could be or should be no other way. Incidentally, in Latin, the root of habitus also indicates becoming clothed. So there's an active and performative aspect to habitus as well. One way to think about habitus is that it prescribes who can have power and control capital, or the ability to get things done in a society. The subjective nature of habitus indicates that it is the result of decisions, even if they are very remote. Right, if we recall back to kind of that list of laws and legal decisions that kind of compound this idea of whiteness, those decisions are older than most of us, right? Let me also kind of insert here really quickly that habitus is not inevitable. It can be challenged and modified and dismantled. So there's nothing keeping it, over us except for our inaction. Fields, represented by the gray circle here, can be defined as areas of production, circulation, and appropriation and exchange of goods, services, knowledge, or status, and the competitive positions held by actors in their struggle to accumulate, exchange, and monopolize different kinds of power resources. Here's another way of kind of expressing that idea of capital. Fields are where kind of these abstract notions in the habitus start to be shaped. Let me pick up on some threads from Janie Sacco's presentation on sexual orientation and gender. If the habitus in a given social sphere is heteronormativity, that is, the expectation that all sexual relations are binary between males and females, then fields shaped by that expectation will reinforce that notion. For many years, the field of psychology and mental health were shaped by heteronormativity. My grandmother's mother-in-law, so I guess my great uncle, was a psychology professor for many years and quit a position when he was told that he could no longer teach that being gay was a mental disorder. Right? So that idea of heteronormativity was so ingrained that it was offensive to him to think otherwise. For years, the habitus of heteronormativity shaped what psychiatrists could actually could even know about persons on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. And that in turn shaped policies and practices. Institutions and their smaller structures, departments, are where the proverbial rubber starts to really hit the road. They're where the habitus really begins to affect people's lives directly. My grandmother's brother-in-law, again, taught in the psychology departments at Long Beach City College in California and later at Snow College in Cedar City, Utah. His teaching affected the lives of his students and the lives of their clients for the ones who went into clinical work. I didn't know Uncle Steve, that's not his real name, all that well, so I can't judge whether he was homophobic or not. But the heteronormativity of the American habitus exerted such an influence on the field of psychology and therefore on him, his institutions, they affected what he could know and how he acted. And they had such a forceful influence that it was unnecessary for him to be homophobic, right? Homophobia exists and is socially transmitted and creates oppressive social relations. I want to throw this idea in here as well, and hopefully some of you are picking up on this idea that habitus, right? Habitus is still an area of struggle, right? The fact that heteronormativity is not quite as strong as it once was, right? We now have legal gay marriage, and we have people who are willing to question whether strictly binary sexual relations, does that have to exist? So habitus can still be a field, it can still be an area, excuse me, where there is some conflict and slippage, right? But oftentimes that's on a right, that conflict plays out on many levels, but it exerts a very, very strong influence, and the ideas of whiteness and heteronormativity have had a long run of very strong influence on fields and institutions. Okay, so that's kind of a deeper dive into whiteness, kind of a definitional approach. So hopefully then on the 10th we can sort of pick up and look at how that operates a little bit. Alrighty, take care.